If motivation worked, you'd already have the life you want. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Motivation gets you started, systems get you finished. Jim Rohn once said success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines practiced every day, yet most people keep chasing excitement instead of building structure. So here's the puzzle I want you to sit with as we begin. Why do disciplined people win even on days they feel lazy, while talented people quit when motivation disappears? Section 1. The real problem no one tells you. Most people don't fail because they lack goals, they fail because they rely on emotions instead of architecture. Goals are destinations, but systems are the roads that get you there. Tony Robbins teaches that success is about creating rituals that run automatically, because when your life depends on willpower, your weakest moment decides your future. Think about it. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Section 2. Why motivation is a trap. Motivation is loud, exciting, and unreliable. Dyer taught that discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. Yet most people wait to feel ready before they act. And feelings are the most expensive currency you can use to pay for success. A system removes emotion from the equation. You don't ask yourself if you'll work today, you've already decided when and how. Section 3. The System Thinker's Advantage. Myles Munroe said the richest place in the world is the graveyard, because it's full of unexecuted ideas. Systems turn ideas into habits, habits into identity, and identity into destiny. Denzel Washington often says dreams without discipline are just fantasies, and Steve Harvey reminds us that consistency beats talent when talent refuses to work. The winners don't think harder, they build frameworks that think for them. Section 4. The 3 core systems you need. System 1. Time control. If you don't own your calendar, someone else does. Systems start with fixed, non-negotiable blocks for growth. System 2. Environment. Design. Your environment is stronger than your intention. Remove friction from good habits and add friction to bad ones. System 3. Measurement. What gets measured improves, what gets ignored decays. Systems require weekly reviews, not wishful thinking. The puzzle. Here's the puzzle most people never solve. Why do 2 people with the same goal end up in completely different lives, even when both start motivated, inspired, and confident? The answer isn't intelligence, luck, or background, and in part 2, I'll reveal the hidden system Jim Rohn used that most people completely ignore, the one that quietly determines who compounds and who collapses. In the next part, I'll break down the invisible system that controls your results even when you think you're doing everything right, and once you see it, you'll never approach goals the same way again. If this opened your eyes even slightly, subscribe now because part 2 will challenge how you structure your entire life. Like this video so the algorithm pushes this message to people still trapped in motivation, and comment, systems over feelings, if you're ready to stop wishing and start winning. You already know goals don't fail people, people fail goals. But here's the truth most never hear. Even good systems collapse without the right internal operating system. Jim Rohn taught that your results are a reflection of your personal philosophy, not your effort, meaning 2 people can follow the same routine and still end up in different lives because the system behind the system is identity. Tony Robbins says lasting change is identity-based, not behavior-based, because when you see yourself as the type of person who does the work, discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling natural. This is the invisible system. Who you believe you are decides what systems you obey. Myles Munroe warned that when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable, and that abuse often shows up as inconsistency, procrastination, and self-sabotage. Steve Harvey puts it plainly, if you don't change how you see yourself, no new habit will survive pressure. Denzel Washington said without commitment you'll never start and without consistency you'll never finish, but commitment itself is powered by identity. Here's the hard truth. Most people build systems they don't emotionally qualify to maintain. You don't rise to your plans, you fall to your self-image. That's why some people stay disciplined even when tired, broke, or discouraged, because their identity doesn't negotiate with moods. The final layer is standards, not goals. Dyer taught that you'll always move toward what you hold in highest regard, and standards define what you tolerate, what you reject, and what you repeat daily. When your standard is low, motivation is required. When your standard is high, excuses disappear. So here's the real framework Jim Rohn lived by. Identity first, standards second, systems third, results last. Flip that order and your life stays stuck. Now here's the final puzzle I'll leave you with. If your identity silently controls your habits, who or what programmed that identity in the first place? Because in part 3, I'll expose how environment, association, and language secretly shape your self-image, and how to deliberately reprogram it for wealth, discipline, and long-term dominance. If you're ready to rebuild yourself from the root, subscribe now because part 3 is where real transformation begins. Like this video so this message reaches people still blaming motivation, and comment, "I choose my identity," if you're done playing small and ready to live by design. Everything you are today was installed, not discovered, and Jim Rohn warned that you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, meaning your environment has been quietly coding your behavior long before you chose your goals. Tony Robbins teaches that language is the remote control to your nervous system, because the words you use shape the emotions you tolerate and the actions you repeat. Myles Munroe said the greatest tragedy is not death but a life lived without purpose. And purpose gets buried when your surroundings normalize mediocrity. Dyer reminded us that when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change, but first you must change what surrounds you, what you listen to, and what you allow to speak into your identity. Denzel Washington often speaks about training instead of hoping, because environments that reward discipline produce disciplined people, and environments that excuse weakness multiply. Steve Harvey put it bluntly, "If you keep hanging around people who don't dream big, your dreams will shrink to fit the room." Here's the truth most people avoid. Your identity is shaped by association, language, and repetition, not intention. You don't think your way into a new life, you live your way into a new way of thinking. To reprogram yourself, you must deliberately upgrade 3 things: your inputs, your circle, and your daily conversations with yourself. Change your inputs by controlling what you watch, read, and listen to daily. Change your circle by limiting access to people who mock growth. Change your self-talk by speaking standards, not feelings. Jim Rohn taught that discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment, but discipline only survives in the right environment. Here's the final challenge. If your current environment created your current results, what kind of environment would be required to create the life you say you want? That answer determines your future. If this series shifted your perspective, subscribe now because the next video will show you how to engineer a personal environment that forces success even when motivation is gone. Like this video so others can escape mental autopilot, and comment, "I control my environment," if you're ready to stop being programmed and start designing your life. By now you understand the truth most people never face. If discipline feels hard, your environment is working against you, and Jim Rohn taught that success is not pursued, it is attracted by the person you become and the systems you live inside. Tony Robbins says people don't lack motivation, they lack structure, because the environment you wake up to each day silently tells you what is acceptable and what is optional. Myles Munroe warned that whatever you don't manage will eventually manage you, and unmanaged environments produce accidental lives. Denzel Washington reminds us that dreams without daily systems stay in your head, while Steve Harvey says comfort zones are beautiful places but nothing ever grows there. Here is the shift. Stop trying to be strong and start being smart. Winners don't rely on self-control, they remove temptation. They don't hope for focus, they engineer it. They don't wait for energy, they design routines that create it. Your environment has 3 layers. Layer 1. Physical: your phone, your room, your workspace, your schedule. If distractions are close, discipline is far, so design your space to make the right action the easiest action. Layer 2. Digital: what you scroll decides what you tolerate, unfollow noise, follow standards, and remember Dyer's truth that you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. Layer 3. Social: Jim Rohn was clear. Association is everything. Proximity influences belief, belief drives behavior, and behavior compounds into destiny. Here's the principle elite performers live by. When the environment is right, discipline becomes automatic. This is why some people stay consistent even when tired, stressed, or discouraged, because their environment doesn't give them an exit. Now here's the final puzzle of this series. If your environment can force success, why are you still living inside systems designed for your old life? Because in part 5, I'll show you how to design a personal operating system, a simple daily framework that compounds results quietly while everyone else chases motivation. Subscribe now because part 5 is where execution replaces inspiration. Like this video so others escape willpower addiction, and comment, "Engineer my life," if you're ready to build a system that wins even on your worst days. Motivation fades, talent stalls, but systems compound, and Jim Rohn taught that success is a few simple disciplines practiced every day, not a single dramatic breakthrough. Tony Robbins says the quality of your life is the quality of your rituals, because what you do daily quietly becomes who you are permanently. Myles Munroe warned that when purpose is not organized, potential leaks everywhere, which is why most people stay busy but never move forward. Denzel Washington reminds us that dreams require daily training, not occasional inspiration, and Steve Harvey says consistency is what separates wishers from winners. Your personal operating system has one job: remove decision-making from execution. Here is the simple daily OS elite performers use. Morning command block: same wake time, same first hour, no negotiation. Input before output. Silence, learning, planning. This sets identity before the world reacts. Execution block: one priority, zero distractions. This is where goals turn into progress. If everything is important, nothing is. Maintenance block: body, mind, and skill upkeep. Energy is a system, not a feeling. Review block: weekly reflection, not emotional judgment. Measure actions, adjust systems, repeat. Jim Rohn said don't wish it were easier, wish you were better, and better is built through structure, not pressure. Here's the truth. Once your OS is installed, motivation becomes irrelevant because the system runs even when you don't feel like it. Now here's the final challenge. Will you design your life deliberately, or keep letting default systems decide your future? This is where most people stop watching, and that's why most people never change. If this series transformed how you think, subscribe now because the next phase will show you how to scale this OS for money, mastery, and freedom. Like this video so this message reaches people still addicted to motivation, and comment, "System installed," if you're ready to execute at a higher level for the rest of your life.